Hey guys, Scripted, we're here with another video, and the stuff coming out about this Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 2 is just mind-boggling. I mean, Season 1 was just awful, and I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I just sort of saw clips and just sort of read about what happened, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. You know, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm just as much a Lord of the Rings fan. And I read the books when I was a teenager twice. Thankfully, that was before the movies came out, so the movies didn't sort of ruin the experience in terms of in your brain how you saw things. And what was really remarkable was how much the movies reflected what I saw in my mind when I was reading the books. They did such a good job, especially with the Lord of the Rings series, not so much with the Hobbit series. But anyways, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 2. will feature Sauron and Galadriel romance, and also seemingly features an LGBTQ character. I am not a huge expert on the appendixes. I am not well versed in the appendixes, but I'm pretty sure that Tolkien did not write in that Sauron and Galadriel had a romance. And even the character of Sauron, who he ended up being, I don't know that was very accurate at all. And then certainly, of course, I mean, there's no possible way Tolkien wrote that in. So right off the bat, we're once again using somebody else's work to push an agenda that person never intended. It's the same with Star Wars. George Lucas never intended to push social politics. Yes, he did incorporate some geopolitics, war politics, things of that nature, but certainly not social politics. And the closest thing we've ever gotten to George mentioning social politics in any form was him saying that there was discrimination against droids, which, okay, you know, fine. That has nothing to do with real world discrimination. So, and then on screen, I should say, there was obviously some discrimination with the Empire because there's no aliens. They were all humanoids. And in the originals, they were all white and they were all men. And so that's as far as it went. You didn't have this type of thing. You just didn't have it. It just wasn't there. And they certainly didn't have that in Tolkien. So what are they doing? What are they doing? Just honor what you're doing. Or if you want to do your own thing and have those types of social politics or whatever social things in your show or book or movie, write it yourself. Stop stealing other people's things and turning them into what you want them to be instead of leaving them as they are and doing your own thing. It's lazy, it's cheap, and it's a bastardization of what it is. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 2 will continue its assault on J.R.R. Tolkien and his work with actor Charlie Vickers and showrunner Patrick McKay, confirming that it will feature a romance between Galadriel and Sauron. By the way, the Sauron guy is lame. Like, he's lame in Season 1. All the clips that I saw of him, super, super lame. He does not give off Sauron vibes at all. They didn't even make him look right. I know he can shapeshift and all that stuff, but it's just corny. They just didn't do a good job. It just looked dumb. McKay also seemingly confirmed the show features LGBTQ characters, multiple, very Tolkien. During a Hall H panel at San Diego Comic-Con, actor Charlie Vickers, who plays Sauron, I can't believe that's who they made Sauron. I still can't believe it. Even the way that they made Mount Doom and everything was totally off. Like, what? Anyways. Alongside showrunners Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne, as well as Galadriel actress Morfydd Clark, were asked if the show's second season would feature more of the romance between Galadriel and Sauron that the first season showed. Vickers responded, "I think there's hope. What can we say?" McKay encourages him, say it. And then Vickers then says, "Yeah, I think we will." Like, how does that even make sense? That's not in the books. I mean, again, I'm not a huge expert on all the appendixes and stuff, but there's absolutely no way. Like, a romance? To be clear, Galadriel never had any kind of romantic relationship with Sauron in J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium, given she was married to Celeborn. Yeah, there you go. It's so stupid. In the Silmarillion, Tolkien wrote, a queen she was of the woodland elves, the wife of... Yeah, okay, no, I do remember that now from the Silmarillion. Yeah, like, there's no way... Why are they doing this? Like, that's not even an agenda, right? Some of the stuff is an agenda, and some of the stuff is just pointless. They're just doing it to do it. Sauron and her having a relationship, Galadriel having a relationship, is just senseless and dumb. It doesn't... There's no reason for it. It's totally unnecessary. She was the wife of Celeborn of Doriath, yet she herself was of the Noldor and remembered the day before days in Valinor, and she was the mightiest and fairest of all the elves that remained in Middle-earth. So much like Snow White, and no offense to the actress, but doesn't look the part at all. She's not tall. I mean, she's not very fair, and it's just like Snow White, like Rachel Zegler, like you're not honoring the story with her being Snow White. It doesn't even make any sense. White, her skin was white as snow. That's what she was named that. Why are they doing this? Furthermore, he made it clear that Galadriel was Sauron's chief adversary and obstacle. Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. And you see that in The Hobbit, to some degree as well. She's really the only one that can kind of stand up to Sauron from a magic level. Romance? Like, really? Bumping Uggs with Sauron now? Like, really? During the Second Age in Eregion, he wrote in Unfinished Tales, in Eregion, Sauron posed as an emissary of the Valar sent by them to Middle-earth, thus anticipating the Istari, or ordered by them to remain there to give aid to the elves. He perceived at once that Galadriel would be his chief adversary and obstacle, and he endeavored therefore to placate her, bearing her scorn with outward patience and courtesy. Okay, but that doesn't... Placating and outward patience and courtesy is not romance. It's just making yourself seem like an okay guy to this person who's extremely powerful and is a threat to you from a magic standpoint. Not only will the second season foster a romance between Sauron and Galadriel, just saying that is so mind-numbing. Galadriel, but showrunner Patrick McKay seemingly confirmed that the show features LGBTQ characters. When asked if there would be LGBTQ characters in the show, McKay said, maybe you already have, or maybe you have already. That has nothing... No! What are they doing? This is anathema to Tolkien. Yes, who made it clear that The Lord of the Rings was a fundamentally religious and Catholic work. Unconsciously so at first, but consciously in their revision. Like, I don't understand. Like, are Catholics or Christians just not allowed to have anything anymore? Is that the whole goal here? Is to just take anything that has a connection to that and just poop on it? It's insanity. The Catholic Church is very clear on homosexuality, basing itself on sacred scripture, which presents homosexual acts as... Yeah, we all know about that. What do you make of this confirmation that Sauron and Galadriel will have a romantic relationship in the second season as well? Like, what are you going to do? I think it was in Willow. Yeah, in Willow, you have a scene with the two of them the two girls kissing, and then... And what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to make the LGBTQ in there? Are you going to have, like, some sort of physical act, whether it's kissing or more, between two people of the same sex? Like, again, why would you do that? No one who watched Lord of the Rings when it came out, the movies, or The Hobbit, sat there after they watched it and went, hey, man, why didn't they have any LGBTQ in there, man? Like, this is bullcrap. No, even LGBTQ people, and if you are of that community, please comment and respond to this. But I think you would agree, you don't need that. It's Lord of the Rings. It is what it is. You don't have to have gays and lesbians in it to enjoy it. Correct me if I'm wrong. And also, don't you think it's kind of tokenism? Like using a story written by a guy who clearly did not incorporate that into his stories and foisting it on him. Don't you find that a little bit like disrespectful to your community even? We're just going to force somebody who doesn't want that in his story to just have it in there. Nah, doesn't that kind of make you look bad? Not you, but to say that that's a good thing? Doesn't that kind of make you guys like seem like overly aggressive and trying to like force things that aren't there just because? And I guarantee you the vast majority of gays and lesbians, LGBTQ, whatever, don't want that. I think a lot of them don't like a lot of the stuff that's been going on. A lot of the attention that some of them in the community have been putting out there. I mean, I know for a fact from friends that I have worked with that, and I'm even going back to like 2000s, early 2000s, they didn't like the attention. They just want to be left alone. And now you're doing it with Lord of the Rings. What are you thinking? So I don't know what the ratings were in the first season. I know it got really bad reviews, but if they go this route, it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. It was written at a time in the United Kingdom when it was a homogenous culture. It was written in a homogenous culture standpoint. You didn't have black elves, black dwarves, and again, I'm not against that, but write a different story. Write one now. I'm sure there's fantasy novels that you could draw off that have that. Why do we need to do it to Lord of the Rings when that wasn't what he was doing? That's not to say he wouldn't do that. Maybe he would now. Maybe now that the UK is different, he would have done that now. But let's honor what was written when it was written and stop fiddling around. So this is gonna bomb. This is gonna bomb. Biggity bit bomb. And again, it's not because of this. It's because you're not honoring the stories that he wrote. And it's not because of this. It's because you're not honoring the stories he wrote. No one cares if there's a romance in a fantasy story. The problem is there is no Sauron and Galadriel romance in Tolkien's writings. So you're literally squatting over them and taking a dump. And you know what's really bizarre too about this? I'll end on this, but what's really bizarre about this too is, like I was saying earlier, how much the movies you had already seen in your mind if you had read the books, that's how good of a job they had done. When you look at Tolkien's works and you read them, the details are extremely profound. I'm talking from the way things looked, to the way people sounded, to the way they moved, reacted, everything. It's a very detailed writing. And so your imagination can really focus in, which again made the movies easier to make, in a sense. Because it's all laid out for you. It's all there. So why would Amazon approve them taking something that's pretty bloody well clear? You don't have to think too hard, as this article quotes from the book, from the appendices, from the different books. The stories are pretty darn clear. You don't have to worry about it. Just get your gear, get your cameras, get your people together, and just take what was written and put it on the screen. Don't do anything extra. Don't fuss around. Just take what was written and put it on the screen. But they just decided, no, we're going to do our own thing. We don't care about Tolkien. We don't care about the fans of Tolkien. We are just going to do what we want. And it's going to be an absolute disaster. Yeah, and what's this too? I guess so. They're saying they're adhering to Tolkien's work. Like, why would you say that if you're not? Sometimes I think the arrogance in Hollywood is like mind-blowing. Like, they think everybody's an idiot and isn't going to know that what they're doing is not Tolkien. This isn't Lord of the Rings. This is some other thing made by this guy. Made by Charlie Vickers. Made by Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne. It's not Lord of the Rings. It literally has a Lord of the Rings title, and that's all it has. It's the exact same thing as Disney Star Wars. It has the Star Wars in name only. In the actual product, it is nothing like Star Wars. It's something completely different. And it's all about inserting their own personal things into it, which is, of course, the opposite of what Peter Jackson said and did. And won all those awards because he didn't do that. And made arguably the greatest trilogy of all time because he didn't do his own thing. And then you go back to Star Wars and how Filoni and Kennedy and Leslie Headland have talked, all three of them have talked about how, we're letting our showrunners put their own personal things into this instead of worrying about lore and the fans and George. Same with this. We're just going to let this guy put his own worldview and own self into this. But this time it's even worse because, again, it's all written down. It's all there. You're not writing a new script. You're just taking what is written and putting it on screen, and you're still fiddling around with it. You can't help yourselves. You think that what you're doing is better than what you could just do by doing Tolkien's. You're doing your own thing, using his skin, using his stuff, basically treating him like a piece of garbage because you think you're smarter and going to write a better story than he did. That is a level of arrogance I can't even fathom. Can't even fathom. It's beyond comprehension. The level of arrogance these people have. Anyways, guys, that's my rant on that one. I'm in shock. And actually, I've been looking into more and more stuff about Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to do some more videos about it because I love Lord of the Rings and I hate what they're doing. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Always helps the channel. And feel free to check out anything else on my channel. Have yourselves a really good day.